After finishing off the season with a 3-game winning streak, but a 41-41 record, the Washington Wizards had heavily underachieved below their expectations after a good playoff run the year before, getting knocked out in the second round to the first seed in 6 games without their star point guard John Wall, and with a buzzer-beater 3 that would have tied the game by Paul Pierce ruled out. Following that devastating defeat to the Hawks in the 2015 playoffs, the Wizards were determined to bounce back the following season even stronger. However, the following season, Randy Wittman decided to change the team's playing style and go small ball, much like the Golden State Warriors. But what that did was take away the defensive identity the Wizards had before this change. He opted to not play Nene and Gortat together and instead put Jared Dudley at power forward position, although this was not Dudley's fault. Playing him as power forward made the Wizards play very badly defensively. The Wizards last year were in the top 10 in the league for points scored per game as a team, but were in the bottom 10 in the league for points conceded per game. So the loss of the defensive identity hugely impacted the Wizards. They also had a very poor supporting cast. The starting 5 for the Wizards last year was very efficient, but as soon as Wall, Beal, Gortat and other starters were taken off, the team started conceding more than they had with the named players on the court. There were more problems, but this video is to discuss the future and not live in the past, so let's look at what the Wizards have done this offseason to up their game. Firstly, and most importantly, they brought in former OKC coach Scott Brooks, who was the mastermind behind Durant, Westbrook, Harden and Ibaka all becoming superstars, and is known for his individual player development, and that is vital, especially for young players like Bradley Beal, Kelly Oubre Jr. and Otto Porter Jr. He has a strong personality, and we will work on making John Wall and Bradley Beal the best two-way backcourt in the league. Other additions for the Wizards include Trey Burke from the Utah Jazz, who will be a good backup point guard for John Wall, Ian Mahinmi from the Indiana Pacers, who will bring back the defensive identity and is a solid rebounder and rim protector, Thomas Satoransky, who was drafted by the Wizards in 2012 but played in Europe until this offseason, and being 6'7" is one of the tallest point guards in the league but can also play the shooting guard position. And the Wizards also brought in Jason Smith and Andrew Nicholson from the Magic, and I'm not too sure how these two players coming in would work out. The Wizards also got rid of players who they felt did not fit into their plans for the future. Nene was signed by the Houston Rockets, and I must admit, as a Wizards fan, it was sad to see the Brazilian beast leave DC, but I understand why it has to happen. Other players who left were Ramon Sessions, who signed with the Hornets, Garrett Temple, who signed with the Kings, JJ Hickson, who is unsigned, Jared Dudley, who signed back with the Suns, and Alan Anderson and Drew Gooden, who are both also unsigned. The two players who I would have wanted to stay were Garrett Temple and Jared Dudley, however unfortunately that was not the case. The Wizards also managed to retain Bradley Beal on a 5-year deal worth $128 million. In terms of the Bradley Beal deal, I don't feel as if he's worked hard enough to earn that money yet, but he does have the potential to be worth that value. The main problem with the Wizards last year was that there wasn't enough support from the bench to maintain the good performances from the starting lineup, but in the offseason the Wizards front office has done a great job getting good players in terms of who was available. The only two really good free agents were KD and Al Horford, and although they just about missed out on Al Horford, the Wizards shouldn't be surprised as their performances in the past season does not appear to be very convincing if you want to bring in a free agent, especially a top one. Anyhow, the Wizards managed to strengthen the bench, and that was their main weakness last season. And in terms of their starting lineup, I expect John Wall and Bradley Beal to be the starting backcourt, Otto Porter to start as small forward, Markieff Morris to start at power forward, and Marcin Gortat to start at centre. My prediction for the win-loss record for the Wizards next season is 48-34, which is good enough to be a 5 seed. As a Wizards fan, the minimum I would accept is a top 6 seed, and that is what I expect them to achieve. But all of that will only work if the team does not underachieve like they always do. That's all for today's video. Follow me on Twitter at AABuckets. Like if you enjoyed the video, subscribe if you're new. Peace.